It's 9 p.m. I'm giving Thomas Training Mountain. We're going tomorrow. Fresh air. Yes. We've been to delegations. We never had anything to do. It's for Nick Cox. So, Mr. Cox, and the time are you ready? I have 3 minutes. And we're going to say, this time. We probably should. I should have, but then one of the nations, mindful on our facts. There's now the team when I was now we work with ag teachers and everything members that are so safe. Not simple that it's not career is that you know about the face. Let me worry from the board, superintendents to administrators, our teachers, our staff, our supervisors, our financial staff. There are really great things that the program is studying. They can really for students, some of people come back, new things, and some field trip things. People out there, teachers and their own positions. None of them are managing, teaching in another school system. Some schools, that's other object, there's a plan about things and how they have, you know. I just want to quickly just say thank you, for my family and the support of the patients. We was out the locations, and we were groups and discussions. Which one of you has my lady windows? I got a sure rest. I'll take care of my. So this evening, we want to recognize our Fulton County Madison veterans, and we have Ms. Moss, Craig, Place, and Belinda. Fifth grade, first alternate, Beckett Brown. Sixth grade, second alternate, Eli Ray. Seventh grade, second alternate, Bradley. Ninth grade, first place, John Harvey. Ninth grade, second place, Georgia. Our students are now advancing to regional competition on Saturdays, March 1st, University High in Warren. Congratulations. Step out. Step. Right, I think I understand the agenda, the Little County Elementary School. In this meeting, following labor of Mr. Forrest, he had approved us of manufacturing use of funds, which is fine, and so it's a main start with the LET. And some of these like the training was explorers like I remember with our CSI designation to distinguish on talked about it before, going to think about it then this evening again. Encourage not. That's one thing that they encouraged us to encourage you. Particularly with those that relate to CSI. So very much is going to be more something.
Sound was a very well-known opportunity. Right, and the leading teacher and bring was a lot of students. It was very expensive stuff. So it's providing that for teachers. It's strong with them, standing with them. There's going to be tutors, the programs, stuff. But in our school, it's very minutes, we're making your very minute. So I decided to that's something sound of that. Teacher. That's the first round. Tracy Moore is a moment that the first round. Send out that schooling or that. First round. So sometimes something else is there and experience. There's a lot of movies and what what's this movie look back to us we have accidents which I was and we just have like states so like webinars that's hours webinar for units and for the teacher plan. When enriched practice particularly the bias the classroom I guess that's some of the raising things like that. It's great. As strong evidence word was we should our teaching, we should learn research and some science. When I read it about in this one, it's trying to teach this the right side. I think it's a lot of ours to get back to school. So it's hard challenge right to but it's teaching what happens. So when it happens, whether or not brainstorming and it's that, whether it's each that origins of our language, where it comes from, but it's really spelling 10 years with so much word I don't know finding word one word to go. So that's where we're at right now. And we have more than I've spent on the question and we when we look at
Questions?
the library, yeah.
Five hundred to be. Almost one more. So, so he's making a bag. I feel you being told it what it was. Then we have Mrs. Springs, who's just in my she understand that.
Walk to the podium is what I must. This is the Valentine's Day dance around our house. DVCC, fantastic meeting event. For March 27th, we have several like business solutions. However, our student body solutions have been almost zero. So if anyone wants to bring the basket or supplies from one, or anyone wants to fantastic. We took some stuff with the register, we got place that and the front schedule. We're doing on the t-shirt, we're doing what we did last year for every child's t-shirt, we charge for that. Teacher appreciation weeks at the end of the year, so if anyone wants as well, start that.
So With my regular sense, we can get on this. So we're exploring your way and the government strategic planning for as a concern. We want to program on strategic plan. And right, we have 15 resources to put that through. Really helps to but the new plan, I'm still asking to pursue this to increase fire he like possible as many services. And it is the same essential to be maybe a slight information to the rest of the system. The reason of numbers are the same, the sum of the class, we get it in there, the last year, break it, simple patient, but so we're shooting for the simple enough to know, there's all really homes, the very homes, and then, so we're getting rid of this. And the community engagement and collaboration were in place with stakeholders, immigrants, rights, to advances in strict time, also tremendously, our media and our teachers. Our goodness for the scene is to reduce the kind of speed of the what it amounts for your and your points for the designation is based on that percentage. We moved to mid with the 50% phenomenon. We ending down with more minimum 14%. Currently, we're seeing something 20%. It does change twice a day. It's actually my next thing that it changes. Frequently. So you can now see this definitions. Having to frequencies. Schools that have association with students. They have purpose. And that is the reason for our education. We are in school. And with streets with the stories, otherwise story news. Like not many ways. Only in that. Ignorance. So, they more general information right now. So that if we don't have similar problems for students with disabilities, that's what. So that I accomplish, I prove it there, and we university. Yeah, I'm sensitive how we're going to see one more than this. This legs is looking saying we're partially needs to needs to read sentence. The rest of the children of this was that children should say that we have this. And then the rest honestly, yes, there's the this gets our students and things about something. So rest another time it's something like this. And in those areas, or there's some more of us like this around this sleeping in general for leadership team, sleeping in general. How we said we had this conversation. We're having random PLCs, we have next like professional level, especially teachers, we have this on our professional learning management. These folks are absolutely having great ideas, how to see this. So, if it's in questions, the weather, especially against teachers, are up to challenge. Yes. It's always behavior, the horse is married, just recognize, the moon real fast of the video. Cylinder, the behavior is where it's standard. For what's needs to do. So we're now going to yes. The first part of it is someone. It's interesting, and that's to learning. So the student takes this assessment. It took 3 days. Part of that, and when we begin, we will learn it's activities. There's nothing to do to build skills. We're going to have to really really use then we need to and we have 2 days. With the refreshers, it's essentially student must do that. Just 5% of our students are even if there's things not in there, being graded, don't have any instruction, being graded, reading skills. So you know what's I think the last chance when there's some work, it's good. So this is what it's something similar to some of the money industry has last let's say not be that. It's not more rational. This device this side. This is this one is more made as this time signals we can put it to I was having this finance. You're ready to say I'm going to this wow. There is selectivity in this one. And the one is it's nice to this enemy Jones said. It's really the same. Send whatever. Activated on any events. So Saturday is the first issue. Then it's to do this, which is about 60 minutes. So, it's doing enough programs and recommendations. State recommendations. You realize that it's part of this union. Structural. There's students out shooting. Scientifically the individual skills. So when created promise to give same and give strong when there's there's three changing the confidence in it's just a moment. So teaching yeah, not missing if I'm staying who's that's so that's time we're going to see now. but it's something like it's one of the songs. So maybe it started singing or it helps us. Something realizing like we're something right. That we do this. Songs, yeah, finances. And another thing is staff and very low was running one of the stores. Well, I don't understand. It's very the same. What about city? This is bad. And then we look at this, we see there's it's interesting is that it's just like people are just a building to states which actually states stands and it really is then but when is it certain leadership teaching saying consistency so it's there isn't something it's really part of this. Maintain it early. So it's always such a loss. So I don't think it's not a good when it's Williams and push man, agree, you know, looks very negative for it, that's why you look at it. Says, "This is really nice, it's the right figure, everybody like brand, and needs it's the quality, again, the on the gym side, so. Yeah, I mean, I just, see, some, good morning, so, so, yes, 2018, 2019, 2020, we did not administer their southern benefits. And not like it was schools. I had 2020, 2021. So this is, you know, not really starts, I think that's the same plan and one size. And it's, you know, creating a blues bank. It's been right now, we're doing, they get on the but it's questions. Something I can see, just begins I don't know, challenges about still go see some since those people had seen and the area and it's today or people say some years someone around so being with the students are the side, so they have to doing that is not some sensible. Same people, yes, yes, yeah, shoot, right, it's first one. You're just all the level, but you don't like teaching them on that level. The way it's one, it's better. And studies moves very well. I'm afraid it's that. No, I was seeing the school starts against you as Islam. And what you see is now, it's like school is student that I in the best way, best way. It's a first thing, the student in science. Second point is the teacher. Especially this, teaching very well. So, a students were doing classroom. Students were living in services. And second, so yes, is on. Teachers is possible. Bringing it we're treating special invitations listen and starting from some next time your students, they are new. You don't have anybody here who's not, it's not you, comparing them, want to see this. And hold up, they're moving the baby. And some states that are more severe. So if the student has an agreement by its independence, and it's said for a long time, see, they can be current assessment. And I don't think about it, actually, more than like 1 or 2% of the backlog. It is a very small room, but students that take an alternative, it's not the same assessment. It's very straight assessment. It's the big difference. Well, no, same number. It's a good perception of everything on account. So, one of the worst. So, what part of the place on is would expect to be able to perform at grade level or it's a matter they might have great but they all make mistakes. They We're going to set up a car. The number doesn't measure its but those things. So you can get it is to your like it should be points to roads as well, which gives you a higher classification of programs. So the more you have those kids around, yes, you get more of a you're working for you slow efficiency with it's influencing standard is it three testing agency. But how do you make it wrong? But not stand to three. And you can come more than three, that's how we stand. You still have something standard. What's that? How soon is that? So really, and then the last thing is that so this was being added up. Right, with conventional, conventional, the standard, the invoice, the part set that I had mentioned, I know, so I got to run that phone. So, for instance, if I got a phone, we'll make a, um, mediation or place, then very important. Those specific skills I'm thinking. On the other hand, someone mastered that concept, then they can enrich them. For the whole entity, it brings all of it. Because we can look at it's the one. Different learners, different ways, different. And you have to go back to that independent and then see which that they try to put out and using back in the day, but on hold by hold. It's not really an extension right now where everyone is so you said it's your instruction and that's what I think it's about that right now. I think it's a lot of throwing back the standard that so that's from in teaching body of this using the assessment like can be impacted that they would take the test. They can do test alternate test. And we can progress the cutter they were with instruments that look really close to what they take. You know, it kind of spits out specific data on the state. So tell the standard and then the student got the question wrong. You can agree with one time. We're saying so it's a different platform, but it's the same platform that GSA is giving. So really think we need to do when we get this little done is to look at the website. So I think once you see kind of the question, it is something that we're going to CSI information. Almost every single one of the CSI schools that have major group confusing, it can be an assessment. I would like to do that. Where we would still get back around, they would still have a learning pathway, they could do all of that. It's just testing, but they can progress monitor each step. So they can give a pre-test at the beginning of the year that they teach. And it's tells them 27% of them kids know this stat. They can teach if those tests and say, well, now 75% of kids. And it'll show each kid that doesn't meet that standard where you can quickly move them in the group and differentiate instruction. So that's one of the things that we'd like to explore more of. And we need to talk, do we need 4 or bench ones? Maybe we replace those with some Camden bench ones. And there's even some teachers in this school that are using them together. and they're drilling down to the standard. That's what we look for today in our daily review to see what kind of guidance we could give everyone, test offering on um, how to drill down to the standard, and then all the students are benefiting from that because they're sending in test questions on air, and they're using the platform very used to taking those types of questions. Um, back, when we only forward divided the ship that I've already used the radical Google, which was like 4 different ways into political division to have to show the other three. I didn't do the answer like in the method. The you have kind of a question is the matter, the name, the level of that level for the argument, I can be. It's, we have to make sure we're getting to understand the way the test is. Yeah, so we can't for the SAT. It's getting them to understand the format. Greater to that's the function. I know the function, but I don't understand language. Very similar things, or it might be a definition of harm. What way it's written, what they're asking. They don't have, well, that's what I deal with some of those issues in the picture and give a thanks. And it's great. Really, the feedback is, it's not the like, get along the bio thing, it's, there it is. Will be turned over, what a great part of it. It's not exactly where the state is. It's really that very difficult to break it down there and then, let's say, but now I'm shut, I get second test, I don't fix it, I'm down, I don't even know how I got it. Uh, I don't have the same here now. It doesn't work that way. Listen, that's for the reliable or not, real or test. You go into a new job, you've got to take the test and pass, you don't pass it. Might have been 120 years, at all. And so that's what this is, lack for them. And I teachers, us, parents, everybody has to understand it. And it's what we're dreaming on, what you're dreaming on, not any deficient. It's okay, it's not every lesson, it's not, I don't know behavior. It's fine. First, it's one of the bad, the sleep, and that's what's oh, but you see that in common. But I haven't learned in the there's a good learning like this about the just so the primary that is the here learning stand on school our numbers from learning ability on manage of this span it relates to the relations suspensions. Reasons for the national suspension, things like that. So if you still I don't believe the person that's going to be recent our some of the symbols on the store. In fact, they are sent messages to it and with living in constant situations and not really understanding says little significant into models that we have to close house. So very much appreciating. I don't know the sign between sorry, what else? It's just first time it's casino, whereas I'm saying we have something again, we have conversation. I am really this status in the process doesn't work. Structures, tuners, so you're just about structure, you're in your behavior, especially if you start with injuries. So disabilities, I'll be tracking and progress with them. Value become great things. That's what we're talking about there. Translating the fidelity to our sport, spending a lot of money. Should practice research that's and then places something similar. So we're really trying to maintain that. Even if I have about I'm saying it's not so research to that family members listening. So just because more sound. Retailer non-functional learning said that nice. There's a new receiving where this relationship is something new receiving. Almost sexual practices that are made. Somebody glad there's two stages. This is being practices and then the ones in the community, that's not very good. So I do it now as the next saying. So you then here on the next. But then they are basically have some more information programs going to go within the interest of just completing the stream program or listening to see success. I think it's the longest learning thing. She's creating relationships in the home for families before they get into school and need it. The this server program or others and like about a couple of minutes, how we bring them and so it's like probably walk on coding. Really nice. So I got more systems. Explain just much time the program and listening to percent and actually and 94.2% of this. Right now, that's related to the restaurant we have. Seventh grade is seventh place, right? Yeah. It's understanding what is the school. We have a very this is process when we attendance meetings when we throw good attendance things with parents action to when the problems we have capacity to attendance days, students sometimes you certainly something. Like stressing the work on sometimes feels like amazing when you get to have small Michigan stuff. So you should really one strong ways we have to move. Maybe just go on to one. Yes, it's like it's not that much to us now. To prayer, to praise, to good, to bless the thing. You better get difficult stuff. Good growing on stockings. There's one. Yeah, it's the time to carry out your fingers. I go to the land with 29 plants, I'll stay soon. Then, I stay nice and clean there, it's not much, we can think well. Sometimes it's being good songs. And it's the greatest. Yes. This is what it's a great smooth, iron. She is not so much strong, especially with limbs and one place is also called. It's regular from houses, babies, abyss. And the whole long thing. She's supposed to be a pocket have remotes. Even that's in split second parts, such as the system stage, things that happen. Yeah, you can recognize it right back. It's like the alphabets. It's right. We're not part of this way. We don't learn, I'm studying, but that's what she's about. Um, I'm speaking about so thank you very much. And this was a fighting. Any questions, comments on this? There's expressions, influence, terms, two lines, driving message, the one, let's see, this one, absolutely. Probably could worship or well, this is a thing that one from my dad's thing. Place. We're doing it's not a literature survey, it's the data, community, ours, our students, staff, our students. We are listed, mission, and mission process. So we're gonna have a Slack, a worship program, there's PLP. So things, I don't see what's special. Bring some reference education. And, and yes, that's how that's that. Again, professional, that we handling in the realm of friendship, silence, try to get yourself out. So, for it. What? I'm trying to. It's not. What I'm gonna do is see. First, what I'm asking on the things, so here, quick, I'm gonna take care of. Actually, the second place. So then, you must be able to change those things, against it, I will follow. Months, remaining 9 seconds, 4 months. So we're still meeting of February 7th, 2026. Sorry. Okay, second into the group minutes of the regular meeting. February 7th, 2026. I'm going to discuss our members to the planning. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And those for being next to the agenda, we get into those, January and next person. Okay.
No, we have given you a lot of things. Some of those were with your permission to pay early due to the timing of the board meetings and such. And then you had a small set that were, the normal timing. I just looked through them again. I don't see anything that jumps out at me, but I'm happy to take questions if anyone saw anything that was confusing to them.
Making better this protected on. This one. Then you have the except which finalized results. Says that the further which finalized result. Favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Attention, questions. Send number 3 to the record next.
Yes, this is our normal monthly cash report. This one is as of January 31st. There is cash on hand of 4.6 million as of that date. Just remember that that does not include anyone that owes us money or any money that we owe anyone. So we're not just sitting around 4.6 million. That's just strictly cash.
Any questions on the cash? All right. Next on the original. So, nation to approve evidence for down county. Build on schools. Second, you said, presented by my committee. Is there any further discussion on this one, maybe? Very good. Number seven. They can have questions. Send you this. Starting with the first United States field trip, May 15th, 17th, 2026. So where the senior class was to go, requesting permission to attend an out-of-state field trip to Washington DC. Intends to be trip to be funded from the class of 2026. Their class account. My recommendation being the class of 2026 out-of-state field trip request to Washington DC, eighth amendment, May 15 through 17. So ministers. Second. So the group of second and the 17th of internal connection. Don't further the class of 2026 outstanding military request solution DC and eighth dominion, May 15 through 17, 2026. There are further discussion on those to that way back. Very good. For fifth, Senator, any advanced, any extension, motion carries. When I move on to the agenda, one second, House Bill, we do the committee, the for education, to back the. Read resolution. Well, you're in, well. I'm gonna use. The third one, well, read it, make a motion to approve.
So I make a motion, we support the resolution in support of Western State House Bill 2152. Workforce Education Partnership Act. Organized the West Virginia Legislature introduced House Bill 4152 on January 14th, 2026. Establishing the Workforce Education Partnership Act, which strengthens collaboration between business and educational institutions to enhance workforce development and student learning opportunities. Whereas House Bill 4152 authorizes business owners to attract their employees to participate in foundational programs and high school classes in public schools, public charter schools, public middle schools, private schools, and schools, enabling students to benefit from real-world expertise and specialized industry training. Whereas the bill outlines safeguards and ensure compliance with worker classification rules, with educational employment standards, and require educational contracts to define responsibilities, compensation, and scope of work. Whereas House Bill 152 includes a tax credit and only business owners to plan wages to employees participating in approved instructional rules with limits designed to encourage business and leisure, minimizing fiscal impact of the state. Whereas the outline specialized instruction in high-paying fields, including skilled trades, technology, business, and leisure, thereby supporting West Virginia's long-term economic growth and labor force. Whereas the David County Board of Education recognizes the importance of expanding school industry partnerships to equip students with meaningful career opportunities, encourage workforce readiness, and strengthen community collaboration. Now, therefore, communities with the David County Board of Education formally expresses its support for the West Virginia House Bill 4152 Workforce Education Partnership Act. The board urges the West Virginia Legislature to advance House Bill 4152, just level business leaders to pursue collaborative opportunities with Valley schools. That further action of this resolution, the superintendent is hereby directed to forward and certify copy to the county's legislative delegation, the West Virginia Department of Education. Adopt this 26th day, February 2026 by the Gilbert County Board of Education.
Yeah, now second, motion. The resolution, is any discussion on this, main motion, resolution. Open to with a high resolution. Like. It's like I'm just trying to get your own experience in the school. Yeah, in our recreation centers, if a business, there's a business that needs, obviously it's hard to train applicants. And, it would provide businesses the opportunity to, yeah, to send folks to training. So maybe you work in the oil and gas field and you need a well. Well, you could send the person to training and pay to give them training. At our level of school. You could do this. Right. Any further questions? Discussion? And again, the ground questions on the resolution of the local salary. Any opposed? Extension. Some test copy sent by building wage some sort of risk agreement and staff wage facility. Process, staff members could use the part of newly created waiver. The waiver is made for students. It is student friendly. It is made for students. Some of their staff that might use it, the students aren't using it. Maybe they want to go walk on a treadmill or get on the bicycle or lift weights. This process, I think, would reduce the liability that the school district would have, would reduce things like workers' comp claim, different things like that, because we don't want somebody, weightlifting is dangerous. And, so we have to, the employees need to know that and we need to do good enough parents for things like that to physically take it part. It makes some rules, about being in there, the students, being in there, providing instruction and things like that. So I think that I've tried to hit on each one of those things. The consent basically says, hey, anything can happen. You can drop the weight on your neck, 7 or 8. It shows them that when they're going serious, it recommends that they consult their doctor. And it verifies when they sign up that they have consulted their doctor. It's safe for them to be doing physical activity and things like that. And then outside the interest of our students, they could get a call or lift or take part in simple. We have very good staff that are eager to do this.
I make a motion to have all staff interested in meeting rates and to which one of the 6 steps outlined on the.
So second. And then second into staff interested in using the facility to 6 steps outlined on superintendent. From the further discussion, general this conflict, yes, question I have is, yeah, staff on this. Like, they're like, the police leader, hopefully, white players, to bring them out, we have currently always allowed state police, local police to, as when we can make that decision at any given point in time. We accept liability for everyone who uses them, because somebody can get into. But, I don't know if they utilize I want this specifically for staff. There's going to be another set of guidelines for it to go from the inside. That now, and then we're doing force staff and need this. When very much, everything is relying, and we'll sit there. We have students and we have staff. First. Alright, that's example. We haven't heard of it, I know that it's nice and it, but that's what it was built for, kids. In my mind, there's so many of them. But when the college does have a facility, and I also know that out there on the road, that there is going to be a public fitness center. Middle Road. They just said that it's their, yes. And, we're talking about something. They're in line pretty much the uses that we have stimulus. So we have not made coaches fill this out because that's part of coaching duties is to take part in athletic training. This for allow staff members to use. So, staff member can go through this process and fill out this paperwork and go through safety training and they would be able to utilize the facility. I don't remember. Where's the weather models? Pretty better. You know, have the same fun. My personally, I don't want wisdom, what the hell, I don't want. This. Okay, so we're back to the further discussion here. We're bringing them. Prove we're staff usage, check. So one would be possible other one city, one staff. One. Well, they can't be in there with the student. Like the only way students can be in there is if the weightlifting coach or one of them. They can't, they can't be in there without them. We don't allow any students to use it by themselves. We have a weightlifting coach that's in there and they're in the evenings. And then, of course, sometimes our coaches are in there with them as part of their training, team lifting. A student can't be in there without speed. And part of this is these folks and staff members know they're not, they can't bring in, it's gonna rules and say, they can't bring in students and say, well, because I work for you. They're not alluding at that time. They also can't bring their family members. Now, this is not going to be where they, this is that staff member, they like to use it, that would be fine. When I'm afraid of happening is we get somebody doing there with weights, we get a little kid in there, they drop something on. Any guys questions? Discussion, that's fine. That's curious. Now we'll move to discussion or possible action. Things into the. This is right up after the SBA conference. I looked into it briefly. Got a share pamphlet. I will be dealing with the county superintendent of ASA next week. See about savings about using a company like this, but I don't have the. So this might be something that we put on future agendas with discussions. Is there somebody out there that can reduce our telephone bills or electrical bills or gas bill, those types of things? And then the type of savings would be given that company for. So for that, I'm going to come out at a later time with a recommendation after I speak this. They do. They negotiate with these items. It's like 7 months. I mean, I'm going to do previous movies. And it has to do those to turn out. So, high school. It's really comes that much. Yes. So, well, the discussion is, should we explore something like it? And I really don't know yet about the few counties that have tried it. And if I can talk to those counties and they'd say, we saved $5,000 last year. I would say, give them probably a little website. All right, this what's that when I have a future meeting agenda. And he has information on all of this. Then next time discussion of what on the new plan for the international time. So the attorney feels seemingly And then they I'm gonna use what I consider less, attorney usage. So, I reached out and I spoke with Jason Long, his Jones. And he was pleased to hear the York County Schools. He told me he had three primary attorneys and he used a blended rate of $350 per hour for those services. He was supposed to send me a number if he hadn't done that yet, but he's gonna give me some details about that. But maybe some of this, I would like to make a recommendation. For some things, now, if I need to use soup, some things I would still use Hemlock soup. But it's very expensive. But I would like to regulate the actions allow the superintendent the authority to use multiple legal firms for attorneys. Possibly safe funds and services money. And, that be for different things. If I had some type of major grievance, would I probably solve it? Yes, but for most things, I think that we could get by with just advice, fifteen minute phone call. I think if we use multiple firms. The reason why we have to do this is at one point in time, and I believe when I first went there, the board voted to make surprise.
Should say it's meeting. County Board of Education.
Sorry for discussion. Obviously, they're very, they're not, that's all. If you're not making good, but they, in bills are that big. And then, if they're like very person. Then out, something like that, you have to do an R and D, I believe, I'm saying. What about you have? You're looking at. Yeah, it's very few, it's very few funds. Only. Any other questions? For that, that's. Very number, all in favor, say aye. Any extension, motion carries. Regular in the old business, so we had discussion, multiple action, right there. Food service, and we still do that letter back from. That cover. Alright, so we the personal feature agenda, we're having the money, seats, kind of. We can make it fine. And then, again, plan. Nation, special education teachers, Denver County Elementary. So. Second, second, the word professional. This everything, like, stuff, notes, okay. Balance is a better family, and it's better, yes. Service recommendations, Stephanie Anderson, substitute classroom transportation aid. Lenny Plicature, substitute classroom transportation aid. Eric Lando, substitute classroom transportation. So. Is that a service board? So, alright, finish our website. Right now, understanding, time, events, the extension, questions. That's what I was gonna say. Recommendation for hire. Shirley Mason, mentor, AMC administrator, central office. Recommendation, auxiliary, university, track coach. CCHS. Getting some of the set extracurricular, spending on, spending on it. Say, I'm That's your price tag. Right, right, so you getting from me. Resignations, for teachers and state jazz effective grade 26. So it's been a good thing. It's not in the recommendation of ten, sermons, tonight. So it's Wednesday. So he's here to wait for those and those serves and we promise somebody and it's not what it is. It's really a transition. And so then they were very glad they are very sound and danger but skills. That's how it's made. And continuous work, so it's bigger and like some of the first of all, I used to call for a service going on. So she's really great and be really going to use. I have several requests for some of these maintenance trucks ready and I'm trying to get that truck out next week. Um, another next I got is from out of the science classrooms. Now we are looking at the um the drainage of two different classrooms to see if we should move the science classroom back down to what I call the kind of big forward. Um, we don't know exactly what we're gonna do with that. So we've gonna get another check to see if we can actually utilize that and then we'll be buying equipment. The other equipment that we need, the teachers are working on getting lists of those equipment and being based off of these standards. So I can pretty good to the teachers that are currently teaching and what I've been pretty good about the middle school, except in order to do the more bilingual experience, they really need access to water. So like as we get a bit more difficult. So I've kind of separated this project out into two because a big one, not familiar, they know now on. So hey, they're gonna get this, we're gonna run the brain and put it in sciences. So we have been working, this is folks and I've been working, we've been health science technology academy. We filled out a, a survey for them. Last year, they become a part of this academy. This academy just responded back last week and said, hey, Gilmer County is one of the counties that we're expanding to. Why this is so important? Science class for these is this. If a student they go into this academy as an intern and they go to summer camps, if this student goes and does the research project in 17 hours of community service during their high school career, they get a tuition waiver to any West Virginia college or undergraduate or graduate freshman. So you're going to go to WU and you can get your bachelor's tuition money and fees for this stuff. You can get your graduate school plan and then you get your professional degree plan, which I know I'm familiar with saying that's more student health. That's big one. We have a full presentation on what this actually do. The only other science and there's one in there with science and technology and what you do. There's one state of criminal justice, there's forensics, there's things like that. The engineering, engineering firms really pay for the bachelor's and master's. There was a list that we could not believe that in the way the tuition. It's not a scholarship, it's a tuition waiver. So every West Virginia school state participates if they would go through and be successful, they would do their interests, do their projects, do their grade. They had 2 summer days to go through the 8th grade and the senior year. They could get a tuition waiver. Some schools like that, the union tuition and kids. And it's not just the first block, it's not just bachelor's. It's 3 blocks for which is a huge, it's an unbelievable. It's pretty good. The GPA requirement is 2 It is generated to be for first time college participants. They want to reach out to low economic status. They want to try to find avenues for kids to get into college and have a tuition. I think it's the second room of these classrooms. How do you get kids inspired to get out and experience? Here you go. It's an application. It's studying so it's going to just get go spend some of it. So it's yeah, we have things, there's an application process. On first year, we plan to choose 5, and we can choose more than that later on. But just the first year, we plan to choose 5 8th graders to start. And so how do we get kids excited about it? We give them an avenue that says, hey, even the kids that might not even think that they have an avenue to go to college, this is a way to get in there and take these courses. It's almost anything related to health, science. You can become a speech pathologist. You can become an occupational therapist. You can become a physical therapist, sports management. All of these different things are in there. And that should get our kids kind of fired up about getting into the sciences. And I think that on top of what we're talking about doing with the classrooms, having this kind of 2-pronged approach will be really beneficial. And it's going to, the families, it's an amazing program. That is nice. We could believe it's the first year school thing. We're not really excited because you can go and it would pay where you can come into or speech pathographers. We need to do something on that. Yeah. So it's on West Virginia. It's not private schools, but it's the West Virginia schools. We not. I mean, we pay it would pay. That's a lot of agriculture. We couldn't believe how many had the soil sciences. They had a bunch of agriculture also. English vet science, all of those degrees will be tuition waived. So good news, it's exciting. I'm going to do a full presentation on that to you all, but we were very happy to get included in that round of this new expansion. Another update tonight, I'm talking with Jesse Skiles. This is nothing I was asked to do. I'm still waiting back for the phone call, but Jesse's going to help us out getting us somebody to help our cheerleaders to get I don't know anything about becoming an expert. But becoming an expert is kind of being John Lane flips and put their floor routines and things different. Acrobatics, whatever minutes. I'm trying my best to give them the right avenue to get them. One of the things I want to highlight, 100% of high school seniors, I got an email. We had Chris Warner come on, and Angel Long, Lance Woodford, and Mr. Fox. I was there and few of us with 100% of our high school seniors registered with us. So that's a really good accomplishment. That was awesome. Everybody took place in that. And I'm going to highlight that. I think one thing I left out here is games. We've seen really good growth for things that we put in the last game. I'm very proud of those schools and how they're working, and everybody is trying to have conversations. They're doing work, get it down, and they can in, and they have skills that's kind of moved away from here's how we do less plans and PLCs, and this is exactly what we want to do for the students. Everybody's working really hard to try to make this stuff. So I'll give everybody kind of kudos during this time period because both schools they're going very well. And they need to be recognized. So that's all I'm doing. I got a question I had. I know it. I was out there about 28. And maybe we might be around the that's we turf, we got 4 or 5 machines. We got enough things. We got 4 or 5 machines. They haven't delivered. I've called Grant. He's still around. Elliott, BSN is still there. It's going to be a finish. Um, they already. Actually, one of the things that we're probably going to have to do is eventually a little spare part. That place is heavily. Whatever. The great room. Junior high national wrestling. They're one of them. The football player. I mean, it was being they were pumping hard and then working on it. We have that after school activities. We have gym in there, weightlifting there, we have basketball practice there, we have all this stuff going. We don't have to. We may have to look at a little grassy area because which is correct. That's a building that's underutilized. That's a great thing to have out there. But we're gonna probably need some more. Yeah, that's flying guns now. So, but we think we can add back 12 spots, which would alleviate some, it's hard to get out of there. The one thing that had happened was the students utilize it, coaches utilize it. Judging by me trying to back out of the parking lot, it's happening. Perfect. Thank you very much, Rick. Now, you said you were going with. I'm glad to see that you're using it. I've seen it with Spain. Well, number two, we haven't had meetings since one of our last training. And I plan on one of the sessions for a very interesting and to one of the board members to one of the families and one of they're facing either someone relations and made it out the other side. Or planning solutions for most of them, like consolidating schools or there's a lot of counties that are close to the old schools right now. And luckily we made it out the other side. It's successful that. We're releasing a little bit of group too. They had calls come and to the game. And are you getting that? I'm trying to nice. It was kind of hard to bit on it, into myself. It's kind of just the flow of people. But I'll let Hillary decide more. But I think it's something that every West Virginian really needs to know kind of the state where we're at and where we're trending. And it affects our schools in a major way. So talk about declining populations. And declining the role of almost still Hillary's like that. Very interesting. And then I'm Thursday, I'm like to play Mr. Price and any part of his plans to spend in having some of the elementary staff, answer the questions and present to us. That is appreciated. Another thing today at the Career Center, we had 6th and 8th grades. They didn't win. 6th grade seemed to be a little bit more involved. 8th grade, which kind of surprised me. But very attentive, very well behaved. And I think it's beneficial when we can push, that path, to them. If they're not to take a solid, like to let them all thing, opportunities to come down and see things or to have them, people to the hospital and presented them in some form of fashion. Again, with those people that have like the government political process, we must address some of those. Again, if you look at the legislature or local bills, I have an email station on the last time with a bill that I seen come out of the meeting that really confirmed me. I'm surprised to actually get a response from close to immediately. So, if you're seeing something you don't like, create resolution, opportunity to for dollar funds, put stuff through. So again, just kind of pay attention to that, reach out to people. you know, maybe they want to help stop something, but, you know, we don't want to have as far as the regulation or and go ahead and those. So I haven't been looking.
Saying, as in my capacity as the board liaison to the extension office, we had our yearly meeting this week and, correspondence, they didn't give me any handouts in here, they've been, published, but I would have brought them back for you. And that was pretty brief and to the point. The next thing is I grabbed some information, like Brett said, we all attended the winter board conference in Wilmington. And a copy of the response to this here. This would probably I consider to be one of the most important things there. And I just chose a few of the highlights that I wanted to share with everyone tonight. And again, this was written by John Neskins, a PhD, and he is with the Bureau of Business and Economic Research at West Virginia University College of Business and Economics. And I have his contact information if anybody wants to reach out. Only 2 counties, West Virginia, with a population increase over the last 10 years, and it's not us. Pre-K through 12 enrollment fell on 15.2% between 2016 to 2025. In the 2021 school year, private schools enrollment was 14,000, 7,000 in middle school, 1,223 in charter schools, and local schools had 230,000. And those numbers came from the State Department. In the state of West Virginia, the over 65 population increased by 18.2% in the last 2 years, while the childbearing age population decreased by 4.7%. West Virginia is in the natural population decline, and this means that the deaths exceeded the births, and that number was by about 7,000 in 2025. One of the biggest things I saw this year was that, of course, Gilmore was written with 700 some students now. I made predictions that the economy is down. They projected that by 2030, they were counting to have 618 students. And by 2035, which is the next 10 years, we will be down to 544 students. So to me, going down to 500 and so on students for the next 2 years really changes my 10-year plan for the county because, we've looked at our facilities and we're trying to get funding for the high school and this and that. And they're realistically, they're not the funds, the $50 million high school, I think 300 students. So to me, I think we probably need to regroup on our facilities plan and, maybe even get some updates on facilities from manager to the science. I know there's issues with roof sleeping in high school and this and that. And, for the next 2 years, I think we have to start planning when that a lot of the students start getting what that plan's going to look like. So that's that is a big concern. I think that everyone there is our increasing population. So the other thing I have is that it's a good time of year we're going to sit down and think about times for the next 6 months that the tendency is starting the new year. And so I encourage everyone look forward to do this, but this is kind of what I think of it. And one thing that, I'm very interested in is seeing that programs demands from academic excellence. And some of the ways that I did that was, what we have featured the Columbus Scholarship and other scholarship winners, through the project grant. I think it would be nice for graduates in the community to see students featured that, winning on scholarship, feature like the valedictorian, the salutatorian, specifically calling the independent minded players that provide, especially Aspen, because a lot of the kids want to and idolize in some class, but if we put together and spin on it, say, hey, some certain this and some certain this, don't you want to do it too? Really motivate kids to take academics seriously. The other thing I thought about was developing a directory of past students and their fields to put students together into their occupations. Because, I mean, as Caitlin has shown me, she's never been a stranger, and the power of just learning someone and who are and that sometimes is a huge help in something like that you're trying to do as a high school student. And along those lines, I think one of the ways to start developing that directory might be to use Project Connect to bridge graduates, like a place to cast their doing, their speech laws, like, somebody heard those, they just, sign contracts with the university to be nurses there. They were kids last, and I heard about that, but, I think that's something that these kids that looked up to them, they're just not being nursing job, I didn't even know. My find some do that too. Um, interested in the science labs are a big thing. I would like to make sure they have a thing by the end of the school year to restore functioning science labs and have the list by the end of the school year, the supplies that we need to purchase so that next year with our science labs and our science. Um, so that we can start contacting those students, bring up schedules. But I've already touched on facilities. Every time I see they need to discuss a 10-year facilities plan for coming. Um, I just can't see the legislature, the SBA giving us 50 million for a new high school with generation that's increasing this quickly.
It was actually go through, when we first started, like, our first year with Joe Fraser, so the, list, I pulled that list out, I had to take it away and go down, I was surprised that I was. Did, so, this, sense to go and say it. That's that thing. Think the needs are, I feel like I'm in the first, but we don't let them actually in school, isn't it? He's administrators, teachers, class things for classroom.
What's needed, so we're going to start working towards 10 years from now, so we hear before we know it. And another thing, that I wanted to do for since it started in this 1 year was developing clubs for the middle school students. Middle school is a tough one for time, not only in development, but academics and transitioning to high school, coming in and these things, and I think it would be nice to give these middle school students an extra reason to come to school, whether it be shame club or opinion club or whatever it's like, and that that streamline this with attendance. To do down to these religions of these clubs. And like I said, those schools just a hard time, so I think maybe there's even this year, our like. You know, so if we. Stay the week before, I think that would be like. So that's this, and I'm encouraging everybody to think if there's anything specific that you want to look towards or. Keep parents together. Run along with one students and then giving them the opportunity to shine. So he saying an opportunity which allowed exceptional students to showcase their abilities and we don't always have those specific opportunities. So just getting that opportunity is a good thing. So I want to thank them for that. All right. So, thank you. Mr. Wilson.
Sure. To me, the main slide here is going to be, people running out of the businesses. It's college businesses stepping up, stepping in value, stepping in. That's really just gonna solve the all we can do is sort of the goal we have. Where those, I think, the right on that. I mean, it's another end, you gotta have, it's a serious world. So it's a serious, we're just gonna go down, we're gonna start walking, it's like, you know, stuff happen. That, brand, it's, I'm just saying, that thing, so. I find the current things, the business was the thing that French kind of. Talk about that, or they just, it's terrible. So, you know, it's really where, I. Make sure it's phones. Where they talk,
Yeah, we're.
so, that. I don't have to say, it went at the danger now, so. We'll that, so. Well. But I'm not sure what Mr. Fox, if you've ever watched him at a moment, the whole reach the hospital. He has, well, that. You know, he's really good, I wish there were reason for that. With the attack body, drug, or waiting, nothing like that. Well, I think for all that going through, she likes to work. Bringing that in, everything is with the younger student twenty. Very polished. Dealing with the truth. There was areas. That's what Dr. Minnie's talked too about the science lab. They're both trying to get through the MPU and what GSU and trying for new credit classes next year in public safety and operations. We have two little people that understand things like and they would think about what yeah. That the should be a government thing about sixth or eighth grade women the high school, spots and alcohol and they not to keep, they need to pay attention to where they're going. That's what they with the profit, 90 of the students. There are still many Hamptons one, if you're seeing anchor, when you want to, why should start looking, one there is another great road. That the other way, then to the government, then they want to run in the order. So there's lots of good business partnerships that really help some. Some can do credit, she gets some more kids there. The esports, I've experience, anyway. The esports is continuing in GSU. And when you count me, I think, and I'll have a national society induction there. And I think I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask anyway. think I'm middle school, CT, where I'm going that introduction. Well, I'm, it's from, I'm sure that, that's what we had. So it's last year. So if there was somewhere, we're gonna look, and then something else to that, that would something considered, for the language course. But also, they'd like to be involved in scheduling process of the integrating excursion student. They're there, they, it's working, the block, very early, so. And they really give the answer, they can take care of that, so we're inviting to do that, that would be a good thing. Uh, this year we had a total of 38 students, what, where's that? As of our last year, they did their big, and not each all had it. That really, there's 59 weeks, she could go, so, it's, I don't know, it's a really good job. Very first time, so there's numbers that are kids, don't push the, they, don't push the, push the, push, push, okay, just, okay, push the raging. Say to me, not my number. And there's, no, I don't. Insurance, the jobs, the benefits, 10 years, to see it, or even working for something else, so those are things we need to. Kind of, making that sense, you want to stay here, and we're here, and we get out there, they have kids, and it's our life. It's from. There are things we can do, that I'm dealing with persistence. Maybe this is first of all, I want to talk about. They don't want to them 6 grade or so, you get it to the government. We're coming around in a situation that happened. Uh, one thing they came on, they have fruits and one way river was in 6 grade. When down from Charlotte and which we have. The planning, the taking the first one, right? I understand. It's not something we can simplify, but it's something we agree for. Alright. University. Further. That's. Sorry.